Dallas.
I hate Dallas, but they're fun to look at this year.
They are. They probably frustrate me more than any team in the league.
Well, I think everybody.
And I hate Dallas.
Well, you either love Dallas or you hate Dallas. There is no middle ground.
You're either a Dallas fan or you're the rest of the league and you hate Dallas. Let's be honest here. It's like the Patriots, only it's worse because they're more annoying. But
They just have less success. But I think that this could. I think that the only thing holding Dallas back now that they got rid of what was the guy's name? I don't even remember his name. The head coach.
oh, yeah, basically, let's just keep that simple. Dallas. The reason I'm so frustrated with Dallas.
Someone who shall not be named. But
yeah, Dallas had all the talent in the world, a cakewalk division, and Carson Wentz has been inconsistent. You go 8-8, and you lose that said division.
And then you're not even the
How?
next one out of the playoffs. Like if they had 17 playoffs, they were still missing.
They still would have missed it. The Rams would have gotten it. And they beat the Rams. That should let alone tell how disappointing Dallas was last year on a team
now that they have a Mike McCarthy who has won. He has experience winning big games. So he has won the Super Bowl, right? He won in Lambeau.
Yeah.
And so you bring him in. I like him personally. I like that decision. I just don't.
I'm very against
who
it.
I don't
It's
like
always
is Dak.
Dak is definitely one of the most, personally to me, frustrating / overrated quarterbacks in the league, because everyone wants to put him on this pedestal with Wilson, with Jackson, with Mahomes, with Breeze, with those kind of quarterbacks. And I sit there, and it scratches my head why people think this. Now, don't get me wrong. Last year was great for him. In terms of numbers, he looked great. He had the second most passing yards. He was second in passing touchdowns. He had a great year. But that doesn't mean anything considering he plays, which should be 6 cakewalk games.
At least 4.
At least 4.
If you don't sweep the Redskins and the Giants, you got problems.
Like he gets 4 free games a year, and he played the AFC East as well, which half of those should have been free. Like, for me, I don't see those numbers because it's not justified. I said it as well in a video that passing yards don't. I said it in this video that passing yards don't mean anything because the top 5, he was number 2 or 3 in passing yards, all missed the playoffs. So when people look at him, and I think he's looking at him as well, and thinking this is a case for him to be the highest paid quarterback, the amount of money he wants is ridiculous. He wanted $40 million to start the year. That is enough to put you in a hole. And if your quarterback is good enough, like Russell Wilson, who makes $35 million a year, which I personally believe is a lot, and it doesn't go well, it puts you in a hole.
Well, you saw what it did to the Seahawks. The Legion of Boom, my opinion, the Legion of Boom is gone because Russell Wilson broke the bank.
That was way before then.
Well, they got rid of all the extra guys, though. Like, I wouldn't call the Legion of Boom the secondary. I would call it the entire defense.
Yeah.
So you get rid of guys because you don't have the money. So a guy like a Frank Clark type guy.
Well, they got rid of him before they paid.
Is KJ Wright still there?
KJ Wright's still there. Bobby Wagner's still there.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
But
the thing about that, though, is everyone from that team who got shipped off, that was still 2 years before they ever considered paying Russell Wilson.
But now they don't have the opportunity to get a guy like a... they can't re-sign Clowney now.
They can't re-sign Clowney.
They can't get Griffin.
But I think... No, they can still get Griffin.
Not if they pay the... well, I think they could, but they're moving other directions. But I don't like the super paying... the NFL needs to either raise, if this continues with the break in the bank, because it's only going to grow, they're going to have to raise the salary cap.
Especially when Lamar and Mahomes get paid.
Mahomes rightly deserves 40, my opinion.
I believe this might be the first...
As much as I don't
he could be the first $50 million a year quarterback, and that could make me want to cry.
See, the problem I see is if your guy, and I like, I do believe that the Seahawks, if they aren't now, will have some financial troubles because of Wilson's contract. And I'm not saying that they didn't take that into account, because I think you have to, and I think that he deserves all of it. I think that he is their offense. He is the offense. He is the catalyst. He is the guy. Without him, they are terrible.
Oh yeah.
But
as a Seahawks fan, I know this perspective for 2 years.
Do I think that the Cowboys would flop without Dak Prescott? No.
Because going back,
I honestly think that Red Rifle, Andy Dalton, I think he would be better.
Oh yeah.
In that, especially in that system.
You kind of didn't bring it up.
Because
they signed Andy Dalton, by the way, because he got cut from Cincinnati because Joe Burrow, obviously, and they would have had to pay him $17 million that year. So pretty obvious. They just moved on. So they signed him to, I forget how much. It was only like $3 or $4 million, right? Something like that.
It was a relatively small contract. I don't think it was tiny, but I think it was backup money.
It was like, I think it was like 2 years, $3 million apiece a year. And I think this was a really interesting move because unlike when a team drafts a quarterback, when you sign a quarterback, it kind of puts an immediate look on someone saying, we can just replace you. The guy's right there to play. And granted, I know Andy Dalton is not as good as what Dak Prescott is. Andy Dalton's reaching towards the end of his career, but there's still something left in the tank. I mean,
he's a guy that doesn't need to be mobile. He's a guy that has top 5 wide receiver core in the league.
Yeah.
He's got Gallup, blows the top off of defenses. Cooper is solid, and then you bring in
and they brought on CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, you bring CeeDee Lamb into that offense, and you have Zeke
and Blake Jarwin as well.
Zeke tears holes in defenses, and then you can blow the top off them. You really don't need to be.
And they have a great O-line as well.
Yeah, and then so this is more of a system thing, and so what I think this move was great for Dallas from a Jerry Jones perspective. Of this forces Dak Prescott to play, because Dak Prescott was talking about holding out this season as well as next season
until he got paid,
until he gets an extension.
And it's basically going to push 2 things on him. The first thing is that he's got to play. This proves that they'll move on from him instantly. The second thing is he might have to change his attitude towards getting less money, because if he continues to push for 30, they were going to give him $30 million a year, which is already outrageous enough as it is. If he really thinks he's worth $40 million, I'm telling you now, he's not staying in Dallas. I know this. I could see this. The way Jerry Jones is pushed with Dak, there's no way that he caves in. Jerry Jones is one of the most stubborn owners in the league. And this stubbornness might actually help him for once, because there is no way he is going to budge and give $40 million to Dak Prescott. That will never happen with him. And if it does,
that means that he won the Super Bowl. That is the only way he gets that money. Is if for some reason
they win the Super Bowl.
He becomes the next ultra star.
Yeah.
But I still don't think he gets that money. But he just is proven to be, and I'm not saying he's not clutch.
No, he's really not clutch, though.
But he just, with that offense, to not make the playoffs in a horrible, worst division in football, you got problems. You have legitimate problems as a quarterback.
When you lose to a team that had a bunch of backups,
well, I think that
it's a telling sign that your system is not working, and that's more than one reason.
I don't even think it's the system thing. I think it's just
not system. Your coaching isn't working, and your
same way as Seattle paid Russell Wilson, and KC is about to pay Mahomes.
Probably, yeah.
So to get that kind of money, you need to be the catalyst. You cannot be an accessory. Dak Prescott is an accessory. He is not. The way I define that is if you imagine taking Dak Prescott away and you put Andy Dalton into that offense, do they do any worse than they did last year? Absolutely
I personally
not.
don't think so.
Absolutely
No.
not.
Because this, in my opinion, granted, Andy Dalton has probably a weaker arm, I'd say. But I think he's more accurate. Dak Prescott has proven multiple times, you need to throw the ball downfield. He can't do it. He can't do it. It shows every time. When they need a big throw from him downfield, he cannot do it. And if you're someone who thinks Dak Prescott is the guy, then he needs to understand that he needs to stop being selfish. Asking for $40 million is ridiculous because he could have easily gotten $30 million, gotten his deal, and he probably makes more than 99% of people will make. Probably more than we make combined, most likely. I hope not. But most likely, probably more than what most people make in their lifetime. So for him to want $10 million more so he can be the highest paid quarterback and get all this attention on him, it's a selfish mindset on a team that already gets enough media attention as it is. Because everybody knows the Cowboys, so if you know the Cowboys, then you see what this guy is about. And it makes you look bad.
For the record, the top 5 besides the quarterbacks on rookie deals, so we're taking out Mahomes here, we're taking out Jackson.
Yeah.
Some of besides Russell Wilson, who's I consider an exception to this week, the other best quarterbacks in football, none of them get paid anywhere close to the top. And the reason for that is because they understand.
Well,
Tom Brady.
That kind of changed recently.
Tom Brady understands that.
No, that changed. No.
Just
Yeah.
So he understands that, or he did, I guess.
Yeah, that's what
when he was in New England, understood that the quarterback does not need to be paid more than everybody else. He needs to have a great supporting cast. To do that, to have the weapons necessary to make a title run, you need to. I'm not saying you not get paid, but you need to be able to.
Maybe
you need to be willing to take less. So, I thought it was Tom Brady in New England took like 3 pay cuts. He took a pay cut for Randy Moss. He took a pay cut for I think Gronk.
Yeah.
He's taken these pay cuts and
look at what Wes Welker as well.
Yeah, and look at what it's done for him. He won 6 rings, but you take a guy like
and won multiple MVPs as well.
Yeah. And then Drew Brees was paid shockingly low amounts
for a while.
And he still kind of is. I mean, he's
getting paid $20 million a year.
Well, so compared to the other quarterbacks in football, Joe Flacco got $20 million 5 years ago.
Ooh.
So, it's a status thing, and that's the only reason they're doing it.
Yeah, considering some of the highest paid quarterbacks right now, besides for Wilson, is like Matt Stafford, doesn't set the world on fire. Jimmy G, the $30 million man.
Jared Goff.
Oh
way
God.
Too much.
I said Jared Goff gets paid way too much, and I laughed seeing that.
See, that's the example of bankrupting the team.
I think it's going to be a disaster.
I think do not be surprised to see a Jerry Jones, Dak Prescott massive feud at some point.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's somebody holding out or Dak gets benched because he goes 0-4, which I don't see happening, but
if that does happen,
if something crazy happens,
or he stirs up a bunch of arguments with Jerry Jones, he could very well just bench him just for the sake of it. Because Jerry Jones has done stuff like that.